Hello and welcome to Mining Review Africa, and we are at DRC Mining Week 2026, and with me I have Marie-Gabrielle Kalenga-Opese, who's the Chief Executive of Standard Bank DRC. Marie-Gabrielle, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now let me start by asking you, how can the mining sector concretely contribute to accelerating industrialization in the DRC?
DRC is one of the countries that has a very vast mineral reserve in its soil. So it is important that we move from the current stage where most of the mines are just extracting and then exporting. The only transformation that we have is copper cathode. So most of the mineral that is extracted from the DRC soil is barely transformed. So if we want to add value to this country, if we want the country to generate more revenue from the wealth that we have, the natural wealth that we have, it is very important that we move from this extraction industry to more industrial and transformation. When you look at the revenue generated from exporting minerals to revenue that would be generated if we were transforming, you have a rapport that is more than double. It's triple or four times the value of what we are generating as a country. So it is very important that we move toward that industrialization.
Now, Marie-Gabrielle, you correctly mentioned that the DRC has a vast amount of mineral resources, and this has been known for decades throughout the world. What are the key priorities to move from raw material export to local value addition and transformation?
Yeah, I think it is a progressive journey that the DRC need to take. We will not reach an advanced level of industrialization in 1 or 2 years. It's a journey that can take decades, but we need to start with the first step. So the governments need to be very intentional in making sure that we have an ecosystem that is built around that journey. So I think for me, the first step will be for the policy makers to make sure that we have a proper regulatory framework that supports investors coming to the DRC with projects related to the industrialization or the beneficiation of the minerals. So that for me will be the first one, so the regulatory framework. And then secondly, and this is a constraint that all the mines are facing today, power.
Yeah.
We need a reliable power system where mines will be using that power not only to produce but also to move towards transforming those minerals into, it can be wires, it can be roads, it can be different products that can add real value to the country. So power will be a second factor, a second priority that we need to look at. Infrastructure is also something that is key. Because we need to have, let's say, the procurement of entrants for industrialization need to be efficient. So we need to have proper roads, proper corridor for logistics that will support an efficient, in and out from the country. So I think those are the three main priorities, but I would say also we need capital, because industrialization will require capital. So we need to have long-term capital, because obviously you will not be able to go that journey of industrialization if you don't have long-term capital coming into the country. When you consider the level of foreign direct investment that we receive over the past years, 80% of those investments are coming for mining production, just extraction. It's not really toward industrialization. So I think it is also very important that the government consider directing a little bit investors, in the sense that maybe it's now the time to stop getting foreign direct investment for more extraction. Maybe they can allocate and incentivize those investors into coming for industrialization. And it can be joint venture, it can be partnership with the government in order to produce more power. It can be PPPs with the government so that they can get the support from international investors into the power generation capacity. It can be into economic zones. So there are different ways that the government can put in place that will incentivize people to come and invest into the industrialization of minerals in the DRC.
Okay. Now, Marie-Gabrielle, you mentioned capital. Mm-hmm. What are some of the main financing challenges facing industrial projects that are linked to mining, so that we can move away from just being an extraction-only sector?
That's a good question. I believe usually allocating capital, allocating financing to a project requires them to be bankable. So the first thing is to have proper structural projects that will have the capacity to convince people, because sometimes it is very capital demanding. So local banks can be in a difficult situation where they will not be able to allocate a large portion of their capital into a single project. We can have syndication, we can have international financial institution coming. So the first step would be to make sure that the project is bankable, it is well structured, and it is long term. So I think if we have that first step, then we will need also to have the expertise. I mean, it's very difficult to invest large amount of money long term when you don't have the right, not player, but the right people, managing those projects. So we need to have people with the skills, necessary skills, background and expertise that will come with those projects. So because when you allocate financing, you look at the person that will be managing the money that you are giving, but you look also at the project. And then the other priority will be, obviously, as we said, infrastructure that will support the project, because you can have a good project, but if you don't have the power to make the production units work, then it is a problem. So there are dependencies between energy, infrastructure, logistic, the project itself. So there are different factors that we need to consider.
Absolutely. Now, Standard Bank DRC has a strong footprint in the country's mining sector. Can you tell me, what role can banks play in supporting the development of local value chains?
We have a key role. We as banks, commercial banks in this country, we have a key role to support the ecosystem. It is important that besides, financing the mining sector with large projects or significant working capital financing, it is important that we consider also bringing the necessary support to the local ecosystem, especially with the regulatory framework that is putting a focus on supporting local content. So the first thing will be financial education. Financial education is very important because we need to make sure that the people that will get our financing will be able to apply proper governance. They will be able to make sure that they understand their working capital cycle, if it is a short-term facility, or if it is an investment, they will need to understand also how their operation work and the tenure that they will need. So financial education is something that is very important. We also need to, in partnership with the government, to make sure that we have a proper framework that is incentivizing the local operators, because today this category of player in the industry, they are facing the same condition, even worse condition than the large mines. So if we want to support them, then there is an effort that needs to be done, both by the financial sector and also by the government.
Now, Marie-Gabrielle, you touched on a very important word, and it's obviously something that's been talked about at DRC Mining Week as well, and that's partnerships. What types of partnerships are needed to support sustainable industrialization?
Yeah, I think it is, as I was saying yesterday, actually, during the opening speech, it is almost impossible for one single player in that ecosystem to succeed. So we need a partnership between policymakers. Government is very important in the success of the industrialization and also the local content. It is also important that they get into partnership with financial institutions. We have different kind of financial institutions. So we have some of the local entities here who have in their business model, they are there to support the type of players in the ecosystem. So it is very important to take them into consideration. We have also organizations like DFCs or DFIs that are supporting the development in Africa or in other parts of the world. So it's very important to make sure that we engage them, and so that they can find the way to support also the development of not only our local content but also industrialization. It is also important to find international investors that are interested in the DRC, because we will not be able to find the necessary resource to transform this country if we just look at ourselves and our own resources. It is very important that we have that kind of very large span of different financing sources that will come and support the ambition that the DRC government has, and that is also very attractive for the financial institution.
Okay. One final question, Marie-Gabrielle. What is your outlook on the DRC's industrialization in the medium to long term?
I think the outlook is very positive, not only for Standard Bank, but even for the country itself. When you look at the interests coming from international investors, but also countries, at the government level, you see that we have the resources that are needed by the world for the energy transition, for electrical vehicles, for even AI, the artificial intelligence. So we have what is required by the world. Now it's the time for the government to have a plan. It will be a long-term plan. It will not be something that will happen overnight. They need to develop a long-term plan around the industrialization of the DRC. We believe in this country, and we have the ambition, and this is what we are doing. We are supporting this country in making sure that we are moving towards that objective.
Okay, well, Marie-Gabrielle, always great to chat to you. Thank you for your insights and for joining us on Mining Review Africa today.
Thank you very much for having me again. Thank you.
Okay.